For the past 3 days, I've been trying to think of something to say about the massacres going on in Sri Lanka. We were all mourning the destruction visited upon the Cathedral of Notre Dame last week, and now nearly 300 cathedrals have been destroyed all in one go. And it doesn't stop there, of course, because there have been secondary and murderous bombings since then. I think there have been 8 separate incidents. According to Open Doors USA, an organisation that keeps a catalogue of persecution against Christians, an average of 105 Christian buildings are attacked every month. And they're just talking there about buildings, not the people. And, well, it may not be tactful to say this right now at such a dreadful time, but the fact is, I hold the churches responsible, all of them. Well, nearly all of them. It's been pointed out by a Middle East analyst called Daniel Pipes that Islam will not come to terms with its deficiencies until it actually realises that it's been defeated. And unfortunately, the Western media and the churches are colluding in trying to be nice to Islam, to pat it on the head and tell it it's not really all that bad and it's not as much of a failure as all that. But it is. Most countries dominated by Islam are very backward indeed, and even the richest ones can't show much in the way of homegrown development. Look, in Saudi Arabia, which is an immensely rich country, they've put a huge, ghastly monument to bad taste in the shape of a gigantic clock overlooking the Masjid al-Haram. That's the mosque that houses the Kaaba. Now, not only did they demolish a historic Ottoman fortress to build that monstrosity, but one of the biggest difficulties in building that clock tower was that the engineers and the architects, none of them was Muslim. And so those guys had to direct the building efforts long distance because non-Muslims aren't allowed into Mecca at all. In all the Muslim world of billions, they couldn't rustle up enough engineers and architects of sufficient capability to accomplish a project like that. Yes, Islam's a failure as a social system, and it's a social system that seems inimical to any sort of innovation. So yes, Islam's been thoroughly swamped by the West, but the West is helping it, for some reason I cannot fathom, to maintain its illusions of importance. Do you remember what the Pope said after the Charlie Hebdo massacre? He said that he would act violently if someone insulted his mother. He says, I'd give them a punch. And then he says, you cannot provoke, you cannot insult the faith of others. And then you get the World Council of Churches with its membership of dozens of Christian denominations throwing its weight behind the Palestinian solidarity campaign of various sorts, and there have been instances where people have been shouting death to Israel in a Christian convention. Perhaps some of them aren't driven so much by hatred of Jews as a feeling that if they show solidarity, the Muslim world will be more kindly disposed towards their Christian brothers in Muslim countries. They're wrong. All they're doing is stoking the Muslim sense of grievance and animosity. And so you still get the church burnings and the suicide bombings and the random murders, whatever you say about the Jews. And however much you witter on about interfaith dialogue and it's all the same God, which it is not, by the way. And I'm not talking from an angle of personal belief. I'm just talking about a completely different attitude to what each religion deems to be God and what that God expects of his adherents. Look, there's a common expression in Arabic. It goes, after Saturday comes Sunday. Most churches familiar with the situation in the Middle East are aware of that. I don't know why they aren't taking it as seriously as it deserves to be taken. But I'd like to think that the sacrifice of those innocents this Easter might wake people up. Although I do rather think it will just start another interfaith dialogue. Thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe, and if you wish to donate, click the Subscribe Star link where you can make a one-off payment or set up a regular contribution, or I have a PayPal account at grannyopteryx@gmail.com. Till next time.